Hey everybody, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Chew Crew Cast.
Yes.
What's
Good
going on?
good part of the day in which you are watching this.
Yes, today we have Frank.
This is S Money, Sean.
And this is Jesse Ferrero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the usual crew, I guess, is back. Maybe we'll end up getting somebody else at some point, but
Yeah. We're the chewiest.
you'll have to deal with us this week.
Already chewed Chew Crew, man.
Yeah. We're the well chewed.
I
Um,
guess so.
Yeah, no, there's actually quite a bit of happenings that went on during the week.
Yeah, we got a Smash Direct, and the
Yes.
Ruby and Sapphire demo came out, and we had some interesting Amiibo stuff going on.
Yeah. I was interested in probably talking about the Pokemon demo first, just because I'm sure the Smash thing will kind of run into the other topics.
Yeah, I
The
Mhm.
would
stuff.
imagine.
Okay.
Have you guys played it? The demo?
Yes.
Yeah, all
It
what
is,
was it, 15 minutes.
if that, the first one's maybe that long. All of the secondary
Subsequent.
playthroughs you can do in like 5 minutes. It takes you maybe an hour to do all 10 run-throughs, which gets you all of the bonuses.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
it's only 10 run-throughs.
Yeah, it only takes 10 run-throughs to do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just recently got to play in it, and because I'm me, I did it in Japanese, so it's gonna be a while before I actually even get through the first part. But it's good to know that if it's normally played, it's gonna be 15 minutes. It actually means it shouldn't be too long. I want to
Yeah.
say the frames on the game are god awful.
Really? You don't like them?
No, I'm talking about like the frames per second.
Oh, the
Yeah,
FPS?
the actual performance of it could
Yeah.
be better. I noticed a lot of people saying that. I can't say that I noticed a difference between like this and X and Y, I guess.
Hmm.
Um,
Is
I
that
don't know.
maybe something to do with the new 3DS? Like,
Oh, I'm not playing on the new one because it's the American demo. Obviously, the Japanese distribution was really funky. You had to go to places, and
yeah,
obviously I'm
it
not
was-
there.
Speaking of which, the American one was pretty awful too. Like, you had to sign up for the Pokemon Club. I guess it was the Trainer Club.
Mhm.
I mean, I was already a part of that myself.
Well, right, but I mean, so was I. But for people who weren't, like KJ, for example, he missed it because he didn't sign up, and now he's got to, go to a participating location or go to one of the. It just, I guess, it
Well-
just seems weird to me that they just aren't offering it on the eShop.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just they're having, like, if you didn't get that initial demo, you're just having to wait, like, 2 more weeks. Like, the earliest thing wasn't, like, until 2 weeks after the initial demo release, I think.
Yeah. Speaking of which, though, this is a bit of a segue, but we are here in America finally getting the Game Boy version of the Pokemon TCG. And,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can get
the
a
Game Boy
code of
Color.
the demo
Mhm.
by buying that. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I'm super excited. I loved that game when I was a kid.
I actually never got a chance to play it, so I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to picking it up and actually getting to try it.
Went back and played it recently. Very good. Brought back a lot of memories. Good
What's-
nostalgia.
What's that weird guy in it again?
Imakuni.
That's right, Imakuni. I love the Imakuni cards. Like the graphics on them are so goofy Japanese.
Yes, they are very Japanese, and they're all horrible cards.
Yes. But yeah, the demo, if it's like you were saying, if it's only an hour to do everything in it, and it says 10 playthroughs, why the heck is this so? Why is it so? Like, why are they having to make us go through so many hoops to get it? I would understand if it was like, this is actually because with the Smash demo, even though there's only 5 characters, I was playing that until the game came out. Like, it had endless replayability because you could just keep
the
playing.
Smash game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But with this, if it's only the hour and you unlock everything, what's the point?
Well,
Why is it so restricted? In fact, the Smash demo being restricted is stupid too. But that's a different topic.
something else that I noticed that I thought was a little weird is that this demo doesn't seem to have a limit on the number of uses you can use it.
No.
Neither did the special Smash demo.
Did it not? I was pretty sure it had the 30 use limit.
I think the regular demo did, but if
Yeah.
you got the special version, like the early version, it didn't.
Yeah, I got it a week ahead of the normal release because I was Platinum Club Nintendo.
Right.
And that's the one I'm talking about. It's the special whatever, and it had no limits on the amount of times you could start it.
I got mine from one of the codes from a platinum member, I think. So maybe not though. Anyway, I still think that's an interesting trend. I guess. Like, I wonder if they're going to continue that with special demos.
I mean, I don't think it's interesting at all.
Well,
I think it's stupid. Like, I find no benefit in making it restrictive.
well,
at all.
But that's what I'm saying is that, like, it seems like they may be going away from the 30 uses thing, which I would appreciate.
Yeah.
Right, that's how demos usually work.
Yeah, that you could play them. You could play them however many times you want. But obviously, up to this point, until just recently, Nintendo demos on the 3DS anyway have been 30 use only.
Right.
Yeah. And sometimes they weren't even 30 uses because
Yeah.
Project Cross Zone, I remember when that first got announced and its demo got released like 2 months ahead of the game, you only got 5 uses of it.
Yep.
It's
Right.
silly.
5 use demos.
Yeah, so I guess speaking of blunders by good old Nintendo, I want to talk about the fact that places outside of the U.S. are getting new themes for Halloween for the 3DS.
Yeah. That happened in Japan at least 2 weeks ago now. And then Europe got all 3 of them this week, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's when we talked about it. But
So just additional themes beyond the themes that have been released for Halloween already?
so did we get releases of Halloween themes?
Yeah, we've got like the Link one, the Pumpkin one.
The 3.
Yeah, we got the original 3. I didn't know if there's 3 more.
That's it, but were you able to download them? I remember Kyle.
No, I just remember them being on the theme shop. I know Kyle wasn't able to.
Yeah. And as far as he never updated that he was able to, and the last time I did ask him if he was able to, he never could. So I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, if they're available online now, I guess they should be there, but even on this subject, Japan got these 2 weeks ago, like before any other region, and they just recently got a Skyward Sword one that no one else has, and they have a ton that no one else has right now.
Yeah, the last time I looked at the theme shop, I guess it was a couple days ago. It seemed, pretty lackluster, all things considered. I mean, there's nothing at all that I've even considered shelling out money for at this point. It really sucks that you can't preview the themes, I guess. You have to go out of your way, go to YouTube or something to find an example, and
because Nintendo does a preview video for every single one, at least the Japanese YouTube does. But again, you have to go way out of your way comparatively. You have to go from your 3DS to a computer, and it's why are you making this? Why are you making it hard for me to give you money?
Yeah, it seems like it would make sense to have kind of the screenshot feature for the for some of the games that are on the eShop, and just at least showcase what the theme would look like on the 3DS. But it's not something that they've done.
That makes a little too much sense.
Yeah, because one of the things I really like about them is the new sound packs, but then obviously there's not really any way to figure out unless you once again go and look it up on something like YouTube.
Wow.
there's not really any way to figure out like what that's going to sound like, or if it
Yeah.
appeals to you or whatever, or if the sounds are different at all.
I just got on the theme shop, and the Halloweens are there, so I'm guessing whatever error Kyle ran into, I'm sure it has to have been fixed by now, because Jesse saw them, I saw them, I'm sure anybody can go in here and see them. If it were a widespread problem, people couldn't download, I'm sure we would have heard of it.
Yeah.
But the sheer amount is like, this is less than a fourth of what Japan has already.
Yeah. There's like 10 themes, maybe.
I mean, there's it's closer to 15 now with the spinners and the Halloween ones up.
Stuff.
But there's a lot of even just basic ones that Japan has, like not even character related, just like color themes.
Mm-hmm.
They got 2 packs of basic colors for free that we still haven't gotten. Our basic colors are limited to like red, blue, and green or something like that. They get like basically every color of the rainbow.
Yeah, we have red, blue, black, and we have white, maybe? I don't know. I know I'm using the black one, so...
But, I mean, the main issue here is, like, sure, okay, region locking, whatever, I mean, I'm against it, but, I'm sure there's logistics to it, but there's literally no reason, it's just data. There's data with no language barrier. Why the hell is this not in any other region? Like, why is it not the same across regions?
Yeah, it seems like it's not conducive. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it would be a lot of effort to bring something like that here, and yet it's not something that's gotten done, obviously.
It just seems like Nintendo looking out for Japan #1 again, and not changing their ways in that respect.
Which is, I guess, something to be expected, but, on the other hand, it is much more of a global market now more than ever, and it would make sense to me anyway if they were to capitalize on that, I guess.
And it'd be one thing, I mean, it would be really crappy, but like if we didn't have the theme shop at all, like an all or nothing thing, that would actually make more sense to me. Why'd they do it half-assed?
Yeah.
Like, if they did it at all in our region, why not? Again, it seems so simple. Why not do it all the way? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because... No, I mean, it was just like you said, Frank, it's just data. It's not like it's that hard to manipulate for a region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but since we're talking about it, Nintendo had something of another kerfuffle this week when they showcased when we were getting images. I don't know if these are like press images or.
It looks like. Yeah, it's press images from, I don't know what event is going on, but it's just popping up today. So I don't know if you saw these yet, Jesse.
I read through most of the Skype call.
Okay.
Like these 200 some odd things about Amiibos.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you see the Imgur?
Yeah, I saw the
gallery?
imager of like most of them all lined up.
How's that Marth looking for you, Jesse?
Those just look awful.
Yeah, and we also got a trailer that was pretty terrible.
I just tried watching that at the beginning of the podcast and got 30 seconds in, and I'm just like, no, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
Like, it's that bad.
Yeah, as a brief recap for those of you who don't want to go watch the trailer, I can't say I blame you. It's basically about this kid who winds up being the odd man out because he doesn't have an amiibo. And they're
like
playing
among
Smash.
his older siblings and stuff.
It just seemed, I guess that you need a story sometimes with advertising and stuff, but it seemed like a really odd way to try to market these things to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For one thing, it just like generally, and it just seems very awkward. Just in general, the whole thing. This isn't going to be on TV. It's just on YouTube, so I don't really get the point of it. And like I was talking to I think Kyle earlier about it. It's like why is there such a narrative necessary? Like it didn't do anything for me. It didn't tell me anything about the amiibos that, like, even if I hadn't been keeping up with information, it really didn't tell me much aside from the fact that it connects to the game.
Yeah, well, it was nice to at least get a confirmation of something that we had been talking about, which is that you can, in fact, fight your own amiibo.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
That was
is
the best part.
Yeah, which is nice. You know, I also like the idea that they could be better than level 9 computers. Like
Level 50.
Yeah,
Level
I
50.
I just wonder how indicative that is of actual like skill level. If that's
Knowing-
going to be like we have 1 through 9 for the CPU players, and then 1 through 50 for the amiibo or whatever. Is that equivalent? Is 1 through 50 going to be just every 5 levels is equivalent to 5 levels of skill, or to a level of skill on a regular computer, so we could get to level 10 or whatever. I wonder what the deal is going to be with that. Because I've always, or not always, but especially in Brawl and then in the 3DS version of this game, I felt like the computers could be a little bit more difficult at least. So
Yeah, I do feel like they're more difficult than previous iterations, but yeah, they could be more difficult because, I mean, they could always be more difficult. I hope Nintendo does something with it, but it's Nintendo, so
the likelihood seems small.
yeah.
Yeah, but something else we wanted to talk about with this was that the quality of the figures seems way lower than originally indicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
good old bendy swords. Gotta love them.
I mean, at this point, it's more canon than his real sword. I mean, you got those little like $4.99 gotcha Tomy capsule toys. Those came with the bendy sword link. The Wind Waker Toon Link. What was it? The plush has a bendy sword.
Yeah.
The Jack Specific $9.99 link has a bendy sword. And now the Amiibo. So I don't see what the complaints are all about. In fact, I think the one in game is not. I think it's not right. It should be bendy.
It's inaccurate.
Should be bendy.
Well,
Yep.
Master Sword is obviously made of plastic.
It always has been.
Yeah, so at E3 we got the announcement of these amiibos, and we had some really high caliber looking toys, I guess, essentially. These figures that seemed like they would
They did look nice.
They did, and it seemed like they would be comparable to something like Disney Infinity or what was the Skylanders that have been really caliber products in terms of design, and by design I mean the quality of the materials, not necessarily anything else. But and then today we're getting images that seem to indicate otherwise, and people have said that in particular Peach and obviously the more human characters have gotten a serious downgrade in terms of quality. So I mean, what do you guys think about this? Obviously, we've had Nintendo has been more proactive, I guess, in getting peripherals or tie-in stuff to us recently. So what do you guys think about the fact that with the Amiibos anyway, they seem to have fallen short in terms of quality?
I mean, like, even if they weren't as high a quality, it's understandable, but it's just, like, the drop is so drastic. Like, the thing with Wii Fit Trainer's foot, and why the hell is Link peeing so bad?
Yeah.
He's being propped up by a urine stream.
He couldn't handle that golden power.
Yeah, Link in particular I found odd, just because, like, all of the other characters that are propped up in some way, the plastic that's propping them up is clear or opaque. And it seems like a really strange choice to me to put him in such a it just looks really bad.
Yeah. I mean, as I was saying earlier, they look like McDonald's toys now. Like, okay, again, as you were saying, Jesse, it's not that they've really, I expected the drop because, I mean, when they come out, they're going to look as best as possible. And I expected they're going to give, like a bit of degradation. Again, the Jack-specific toys are only $10, and they look great. I mean, they have a few painting mishaps here and there because of mass production, I'm sure in China. The machines obviously aren't going to make, like, one-to-one, like, Figmas, basically. I don't know if Figmas are hand-painted, but I know they look that way, at least. And you pay for it. But, like, yeah, $10, I'm not expecting the greatest thing in the world, but these look like basically the toys you get for free alongside your meal at McDonald's.
Yeah, Happy Meal toys.
Like, I don't want to pay any money for them. And in fact, me and Kyle both this morning have canceled our pre-orders, or at least I've canceled the majority of them. I kept Marth because he's not available for pre-order on Amazon right now. He's like run out. I want to make sure I get that one because I've decided I'm not going to get them all, which is what I was going to do. But I'm just going to get the ones for characters I really I use, because I kept Marth and the Villager. And then if I see them in stores and they look good, kind of like Pikachu and Kirby, but again, as we were saying earlier, the more realistic the character is, the crappier they are. But the more exaggerated and a character is, like Kirby, he's just a pink ball. How can you mess that up? In fact, they kind of did. Like, some people are complaining about his eye spacing and other stuff like that. That's a little too extreme for me, but like those that are more simplistic, they're going to look okay. Pikachu's going to look okay. Mario surprisingly looks okay.
Yeah, I feel like part of that is that he is the person, the amiibo that they've used in so much marketing. Like, if they were going to skimp on one, it was definitely not going to be Mario.
No.
I mean, Link? Because even Donkey Kong still looks okay.
It's true, but once again, Mario is, to a certain extent, he's not really human. I mean, like,
Yeah.
With the
He's
nose and stuff.
He's a caricature.
He is. Even Peach is more, human-esque than Mario is.
Yeah.
And so this brings to mind a question, which would be, do you guys think that the production quality on these things will continue to falter in the recently announced Wave 2?
Yes.
So you don't think that, well, obviously...
the pictures on Amazon for the Wave 2 match the quality of the first line, but now that we've seen the way the first line actually looks, I'm sure that the way the second wave actually looks will not look as good as they did on Amazon, or in promotional pictures so far.
So you don't think that people canceling pre-orders, that sort of thing, will have any impact on the way Nintendo decides to create these things?
I hope so, but I know for a fact Wave 1 won't be affected just because...
Right, they're already in production.
Yeah, they've already been made. It's too late.
Right, which is why I ask about Wave 2. Obviously this is the first time, or at least to my recollection, that Nintendo has done something like this, where they're doing, multiple sets. So, I mean, this was the first year, really, that Nintendo's done collectibles anyway. But... or at least in, as big of a...
In our generation.
Yeah, well, as big of a way as they have, like, with opening the Pokemon Center. For America, anyway. So I do wonder if this will affect the Amiibos in the second generation.
I don't think so. I think it's also too late for the second generation. Although they aren't really being shown, I'm sure they're well along in production just because they're only a month out from the first wave. I also, even if there was a chance for them to change it, I still don't think they would for Wave 2 because I don't think Nintendo cares. Also, I don't think the news that, even if this were to affect them, I don't think the Amazon pre-order thing will hit them soon enough.
Gotcha.
But what I think with the Amiibos is, seeing how Wave 1 turned out, I don't think they were going for us as a target market now. Collectors. I think they're going for kids. And I don't think this drop in quality is going to be a thing that will affect parents buying stuff for kids, nor like little kids who are interested in Infinity and stuff like that.
Yeah,
these are toys that get used on and off the game. Like, I'm sure these kids roughhouse with them, and they're gonna. The cheaper they are, the better it is for parents to replace and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
God, that would be awful if you had like a little brother that played with those things.
Yeah.
And it's like he friggin' broke your Amiibo, and now all of your save data is lost off of it.
yeah.
Well, if you break the figure, I think because
it should be I'm pretty sure it's an RFID chip in the base.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably how, much like the Pokemon Rumble figures, I'm pretty sure that's how they're getting used.
Speaking of the Rumble U figures, I wanted to bring up that comparison, and also to compare these two Infinity figures. Disney had it figured out. If you've gone and checked those out, I don't have any interest in buying them, but man, they look great. Like,
yeah, they are definitely high caliber toys.
They're the same price too. Like, it can be done.
Yeah,
it can be done. It's already been done, and Nintendo isn't even paying attention. Like, they're late to the party and putting out a shittier product. I don't see how this is going to work out for them, but
I do think that you made a good point earlier on, which is that a lot of the, if not all of the Infinity characters are caricatures, like Mario, where even if they have real life characters such as Jack Sparrow or Davy Jones, they have made them more conceptual in a way, and that has made them easier to like it's like you said, it's obviously still the character, but it is a different version of the character, and I think that's worked in their advantage.
Yeah, and I feel like Nintendo could be doing that, and they did that with the Rumble U figures. Seeing how these Amiibo figures turned out has actually made it made me cancel the pre-order for one, but it also has made me go and be like, I kind of want to get in the Rumble U figures. Like, I want to get all 18 of them now, because those they did exactly what they needed to with those. They changed up the style because they look kind of like they have angles and look kind of origami-ish.
Yeah,
but they I have a Deoxys, an Eevee, Pikachu, Litwick. They all look great. They all fit, and they were like $5.
Yeah, part of that though I think is the aesthetic of Smash itself, because obviously these Amiibo are supposed to be representative of the characters in the game, and with the game, Nintendo was going very much for an HD look, in the Smash Direct, which we got earlier this week, they talked. One of the big things they pushed was the HD quality of it. The caliber of the game in terms of graphics was one of their big 50 features. And yeah,
buttons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of which, we might as well talk about that now.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think of the... obviously, we got a Smash Direct on, I guess it was Thursday. What did you guys think of that?
I mean, there were some things that was like, that's nifty.
Yeah.
But the majority of it was just like, either, yes, we knew about this, or...
So, give us a list of your like, oh, that was good, or oh, that was terrible.
Like the board game. Why are we playing Mario Party 8?
See, I
Why are we
thought
playing...
that might be the case. I think this might be a divisionary part of it for us, but go ahead.
What were some other things? Mewtwo. Jesus, that was a poor decision.
Yeah. For those of you who aren't aware, the way Nintendo has set up this little debacle, because that's really what Mewtwo is at this point. Is they have set Mewtwo to be a downloadable character sometime in the spring of 2015, which you can get if you have both copies of the game. So, for free, of course, but basically, that means that Mewtwo has become, a $200-300 downloadable character for some people. If they choose not to offer him elsewhere, which there has been some speculation on.
I'm sure there's he may be coming later for those people, but I'm sure there's. I hope. It'd be such a stupid decision not to include him as $5 or whatever download later.
Yeah, you would think that it would be just logical to include him later as a purchasable DLC, but obviously we have seen that Nintendo doesn't necessarily make the best decisions when it comes to that. But yeah, so we got Mewtwo, we got the board game, which honestly I'm okay with.
I think it'll be fun.
I like the idea better than Smash Run, certainly. And I just I wasn't super keen on party games, but then we played a pretty good bit of Nintendo Land, and I quite enjoyed that. So,
and Fortune Street's great too.
Yeah, we hate it, but we go back. So, I am hoping that I could see it being a negative thing. It seems silly to me that they would make such an obviously party intended game and then not have the previously announced 8 players be able to play it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still up in the air about it. I think it could be a good thing, but I'm ambivalent, I guess. We'll see how well it works out. But some of the other things they announced were, like I just mentioned, there will be the ability to have 8 players, up to 8 players in a Smash. That was something that showcased in the Amiibo trailer too, was the 4 people fighting with 4 different Amiibos. It was so I think there's a lot of interesting possibilities there, I guess. But I'm wondering how the control scheme is going to work, I suppose, because obviously
hopefully I was going to say hopefully you can use the the GameCube adapter. And also use Gamepad Pros. I hope to do 8 players. You don't have to use 3DSs.
Yeah, that's part of what I'm wondering. I'm also wondering if you could do something wonky like use a multi-USB attachment to attach more than one GameCube adapter or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how flexible this is going to be in terms of, like you said, are we going to have to use 3DS to get 8 people in? Are we going to be able to use obviously what kind of different controls are we going to have available to us when we're playing with 8 players? Because that's something that I don't know. They touched on it, I felt like, but they didn't elaborate as much as was necessary. But yeah,
I mean, I really like the biggest thing for me, going along with that discussion, was the big stages.
Yeah, I think that's really cool too, because obviously we've had our lone big stage really in Smash history was Hyrule Temple.
Yeah.
And
we also had New Pork City.
That's true.
Which was amazing.
But that probably will be more playable now. I don't know if they're bringing that back, but if they did, 8 players would work on that stage.
Yeah. And I don't know. I've always liked the idea. It does seem to me that they're trending it more towards trying to trend the Smash towards being more of a party game than a competitive game, which is fine, I suppose. But I've always liked the idea of being able to include everybody. So it's nice to have some greater than 4-person Smash.
Yeah, because with a game like Smash, you're bound to have more than 4 people that want to play it.
Yeah, it does seem, it always seemed like we would have, 5 people who would want to play or whatever.
Just too many, yeah.
Yeah, so the announcement of 8 players was a welcome addition. But then, on the other hand, we had stuff like, it's an HD was one of their 50 features that they covered.
The way that direct was handled wasn't very good at all.
Yeah, it seemed like the format was really awkward because they announced some important new stuff, like the 8-player Smash, at the beginning, and then, towards the end, we got stuff like the Mewtwo announcement and the Baby Bowser character reveal.
Yeah.
Because we had no idea that was coming. And, it really did seem
Duck Hunt.
awkward.
Yeah, where's Duck Hunt?
The layout. Something else I wanted to bring up is that, to me anyway, it felt like when they were doing the Baby Bowser trailer that they were toting all of the Koopalings as like unique characters. It kind of felt like to me.
Yeah, they were really playing it up, the fact that he has 8 unique models.
Yeah.
And they've introduced 8-player mode, so you can have all the Koopalings out at once.
Woo!
Yeah,
you can't have all of the Little Mac costumes out at once.
No, because there's 16 of those.
Wow. Wow.
Or 16 Smash. You done goofed, Nintendo.
You done goofed.
I don't know. So I guess that brings, kind of an interesting question, which is, why is it that Baby Bowser is the only person to represent multiple characters in the Smash?
Well, he's technically not, because Olimar has Alf.
And I guess you have Daisy with the Peach costume.
The thing about Alf that bothers me is, why did they put in Louie and the other guys? It was just as easy.
No.
Like, there's I think 5 different captains for Pikmin. Why didn't they put them all in when they did it with the Koopalings? Like, why only 2 for Pikmin? I don't get it.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of disparities, I guess.
And then the whole Dr. Mario aren't just costume.
Yeah,
slots.
they're completely different skills. Like, Dark Pit is unique from Pit. But I guess that's just bringing back back up the clone point, in that we got a good number of clones in this iteration of Smash. And, I don't know if that, obviously Sakurai came out and said, oh, people who don't like clones are idiots, basically. But regardless of that, I just don't know how much I appreciate clones being included as new characters. But I guess that's a discussion for another time.
No.
So anyway, something else we wanted to talk about this week was that it looks like Nintendo has posted a listing for a console designer in North America. And I guess Sean would be the person to ask about this, but have they ever done this before? Like,
Or a person outside of Japan?
Yeah, for console design specifically.
I can't think of any historical time that they have. They may have done it without being so explicitly like, oh, hey, we're looking for it. They may have done it like behind the scenes or, not advertised. But as far as is historically known, no. Like, there's no one that's came out after the fact and said, oh yeah, I worked on that and I was American, or we've never seen any listings. Of course, the nature of commerce has changed over the years, but basically all that to say, I don't know. There's no information that says there has been, but I still kind of doubt that it's never happened before.
Right.
Personally.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. And I just thought it was interesting that, with the fact that we've gotten so much, I guess, so many peripherals this year, and it seems like Nintendo is trying to be more active in North America, I guess. Made me wonder if perhaps they have more plans for, basically a global economy in terms of both their consoles and games, or if this is just kind of par for the course, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's odd that they're announcing it so
Blatantly.
Blatantly. So that's an interesting function of it, that it's just kind of out there for people to see. But they didn't really actually announce it; it's just somebody found it, and I feel like this is a case of we've never seen it before, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just been more of a hidden thing, this sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of like how nowadays we're like, oh, how's it been that how is it that Brawl never got spoiled, but the 3DS version was so spoiled? It's just because the nature of the internet has changed.
Yeah.
In less than even 7 years. I think it's just one of those sorts of things. I'm sure that this has kind of been out there, and I'm sure they've hired people before. I don't have any evidence to back myself up. This is just my intuition.
Yeah.
But it's still interesting, and it's cool that they are hiring.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, something else I wanted to talk about is that I guess veering off the course of Nintendo news.
Yeah, I was looking forward to this.
We'll talk about both of them. We've got an announcement this week, I guess, that Frank West had been cast for a Dead Rising movie.
I saw this, and you linked to this, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. I had not heard anything about this.
Yeah, I was not even aware that Dead Rising movie was going to happen until they were like, hey, we cast Frank West. And I was like, what?
Yeah. And so I guess I wondered what you guys thought of this. Like, do you think that Dead Rising could make a good movie?
Yes.
Obviously, with that game in particular, there's a lot of side missions and stuff that could be considered integral to the story. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about the fact that they cast a comedian? And I guess it makes a certain amount of sense, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the nature of that game is humorous. Like, it's not serious at all, especially the first one. I'll have to say that guy looks nothing like Frank West looks to me. Like, his hair is okay, but his face looks completely wrong. But that's not really important. I'd be happy if this was just like a movie adaptation of the first game. I don't think that's what it's going to be, because I think Frank has kind of evolved his own story through all the different games, and there might even be supplementary like comic books or something, I don't know, with more information about him. But
yeah, well, and the movie's called Dead Rising Watchtower, so we'll have to see what
exactly
that means. Yeah.
So I guess it's probable that it's going to be an original story.
And
hopefully, it'll be a decent movie, to say the least.
That's interesting. Epic Mealtime host Harley Mornstein is going to be some of the members of a biker gang.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a transition from YouTube to movies.
The big screen. Yeah.
I guess that's not really unheard of, because
this is a straight to streaming movie, it looks like.
Yeah.
It says the Dead Rising movie will debut on Crackle, Sony's streaming video service. So this looks like more along the lines of a mini-series produced, kind of like, which we're going to get to in a little bit, how it looks to me reminiscent of the Halo Nightfall.
Right.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in general, I'm excited to see where this goes. This is one of those things where, because it's such a not serious thing to me, I could see, like, go ahead, make a movie adaptation out of it. It's not going to ruin Dead Rising. Like,
Yeah.
there's
No.
nothing really serious there to ruin.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and I agree. I think it'll be interesting, and I'm hoping that it is interesting, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and not just kind of a throwaway cash in, I guess, for Dead Rising. Not that that would
Yes.
really make any sense given the fact that the franchise isn't necessarily well known, but regardless. Yeah, so next thing I wanted to talk about was, as Sean mentioned, this week we got a trailer for Halo Nightfall, which is, as far as I'm aware, a miniseries that is coming when the Master Chief Collection comes out for Xbox One here in 2 weeks or so. And this show, miniseries, for lack of a better term, is it was directed by Ridley Scott and has some pretty high production values. It looks like I didn't see anybody that I recognized in the trailer, and I haven't gone and looked at the casting for it. But it looks like, all things considered, that it's actually going to be a pretty big deal in terms of Microsoft marketing, I guess. So I wondered, I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to go and watch the trailer or
I
have
did.
chosen to watch the trailer. But I wondered what you guys thought about the fact that this is basically a big budget miniseries that has been created around arguably Microsoft's most successful franchise.
Do you know much about this at all yet, Jesse?
Not really.
I was just wondering because I watched it the other day. You know, Halo's not my thing. I'm looking forward to what you have to think about it, Frank. But I enjoyed Halo back in the day, and it's gotten its own, I guess, lore behind it now, where these things are, there's been movies before, not necessarily movies on the big screen, but like what was it? There's the Halo Reach movie,
Yeah, the
Unto Dawn or something.
Forward Unto Dawn.
Yeah, and there's another one that I don't remember.
It was what, Halo Legends? It was like
Yeah,
a
Halo
bunch of
Legends
shorts.
was a bunch of animated shorts. Came out around the time of Halo 4, I think. So it was about the same time that Forward Unto Dawn came out.
Yeah,
And there was a lot
I've
of
actually-
interesting lore in that.
yeah, I've seen Forward Unto Dawn, and this just looks like a continuation of that. Like really well, very good production values with attention to detail concerning the Halo lore. And I think for that, this is a fantastic thing for Halo fans, but it doesn't really do anything for gaining new fans. Like, it seems inclusive. It doesn't seem like, it seems exclusive. It seems like this is made for those who already kind of have an idea. If you don't, it's not welcoming you. You know what I mean?
You think so?
Well, mostly in that regard, it's because of its delivery. You have to. Well, you don't have to, but it comes with first with the Halo Master Chief Collection. I'm sure later it'll be available elsewhere, but it's exclusive to the fans already. Like just in that fact. And just because you have to know the lore, and a lot of the lore now is explained more through the book adaptations and the movie stuff. And if you aren't keeping up, or if you just played the games casually, like you go through the story mode, I played through Halo 1 through 3, all three of them, beat them. I don't know anything about the story of Halo. It was a fun game to play, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I've never completed a Halo campaign. Ever.
Oh, yeah?
So I definitely don't know anything about Halo. Like, I've played them, like, a majority of the way through, but I've never completed one.
Yeah, so with Nightfall, it's going to have connections to something else that's coming out soon. which is the Halo television series, supposed to start
Oh,
relatively soon. And supposedly it will connect the stories between Halo 4 and 5. And I don't know. The most interesting thing about this to me is that it seems like it's Microsoft basically trying to expand a brand that they own into a wider media scope, I guess. And in some ways, Sony's doing this too. They have a show called Powers coming out soon-ish. I don't know if it's started or not. Which is based on a comic book about a detective who I think has superpowers and is trying to deal with that. But I guess this
what was it called again?
Powers. And I guess this brings to mind a question, which is kind of outside of the scope of what we normally talk about, but that's okay. Which is, do you think that with the advent of stuff like original content on Netflix and then Amazon's getting into shows and that kind of thing, and then HBO has announced that they will be introducing HBO Go outside of cable subscriptions next year. So do you guys think that the traditional television market as a whole is, I guess, dying, or do you think these channels, new channels of content, I guess, so to speak, kind of supplement that, or what?
I
Sort of. For me, I think television has just been sort of like so ingrained in society that even with all of these supplemental things like Hulu and HBO Go and all of that, it's not really gonna go away. Like, I feel like it's just too ingrained at this point.
I mean, I definitely think for the generations that are still around, like our parents and everything, but it's kind of becoming the opposite. It's an unsustainable market now. If you've ever seen how much a cable bill is, you know the reason why none of us have cable?
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely expensive, and we're poor. But Netflix is like $8 a month. So, like, what you gonna do? $65 a month for stuff you really don't watch all the time, or Netflix to watch stuff, like pretty much anything you really want, whenever you're kind of wanting to watch stuff. Especially us in our group, if it's something we really want to watch, we just buy it on DVD once it comes out, like Dragon Ball Z or whatever. I agree with your first point about it sticking around, but I think with our generation growing up as it is, there's nothing on TV that any of us are willing to spend $65 a month just to see. And there's so many people I know that, in fact, I'm hard pressed to find someone my age that actually has cable. Do you know anybody, Frank or Jesse, of our age?
I know me. But I have cable because it is less expensive to have cable and internet than to have just internet. So,
I did not know you had cable because you don't use it.
My cable box is sitting on my dining room table plugged into 0 things.
Exactly.
So,
and again, you're only doing it for the price reduction. You're not even using it.
Yeah, that is accurate. And that's, unfortunately, just the way of things. It seems like is that internet tends to be less expensive if you bundle it with cable, because
is it less expensive just for a time? Because I know at this house
where contract based, my contract will run out in quote unquote will run out in February or something when I created it. A year. It was like a year-long deal,
right?
And at which point I will happily drop my cable subscription.
Yeah, because that's how it is here at Grenad's house. Like, she has cable, but she's paying like $65 for it. The internet's only $35 on top of that. If we dropped the because it's gotten to the point where she's on like she's not even really on a contract thing. It's just she pays. That's her monthly bill.
Yeah.
There's no deals going on. If we dropped the cable, it wouldn't affect the internet price at all. And so basically, from that regard, do you know anybody, Jesse, with cable?
My sister, last I knew, had Comcast television.
Okay. I still feel like it's becoming less and less a majority thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know with generations predecessory to ours, yeah, for sure, it's a thing that's just been ingrained. But with ours, I feel like it's becoming the opposite. It's ingrained that we don't use cable; we just use the internet for everything.
Yeah, there's so much on the internet that you could get in terms of like television or whatever that even Hulu is more, despite the fact that Hulu is I've got some problems with it, but
right,
that's more easily accessible to me than something like cable is, where I have to plug in my box and make it work with my ancient TV. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. Just think it's interesting that obviously we have Hulu and Netflix and a couple other different streaming segments, and now it seems like Microsoft and Sony may be trying to get in on that action, I guess.
Yeah. My problem with that is you have to own the console. It's not you can't.
Right.
At least right now, you can't get this Halo Nightfall without an Xbox.
Right, and that's another thing about Powers, right? The PlayStation series is that you have to have some way to access the PlayStation Network to watch the series.
So I guess I could on my Vita if I really wanted to.
Yes, I think so. And so I'm apprehensive as to if they keep trying to basically create this exclusive content for, especially like high quality, high caliber content for things that I don't own, like an Xbox, then I'm going to be a bit peeved, I guess.
Right. Because then it's not really competing with Netflix, because Netflix doesn't require you to have it requires you to have a computer.
Console. Yeah.
Which you already have. So and it doesn't matter, like you can have a really crappy computer and still run Netflix. So
Right. And I guess the last thing that I wanted to talk about
the Pinocchio movie
this week, yes, was the Age of Ultron trailer. Did either of you get a chance to? I'm sure Sean's watched it, but
yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
So what did you guys think about that? And then I'll have a broader question, but
are
you guys ambivalent?
Kind of.
Movie?
Like, because I don't know jack shit about comics. I mean, I'm sure it'll be good. But like, it was just kind of like, oh, that's a movie that's coming out next year.
Now, did you see the first Avengers?
Yes,
I did.
And what did you guys think about that?
It was good.
Yeah, it was a movie that I saw. Hey, you guys know me already. I'm very strange when it comes to movies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not selective, it's just I don't go out of my way to see a movie, and if I see it, it's like, okay, yeah, that was a movie. Like, this feels like, oh, well, that's a movie. I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah.
Hey, a movie has to be, it has to have some sort of exceeding quality about it. And I feel like the Avengers movies, heck, any of these things that Marvel is putting out, or whoever's producing these, the comic book hero movies that have, assuaged the market so rapidly, I feel like they're so shallow because they have to be because of how frequently they come out, but also to appeal to the broadest audience possible. That sure, yeah, this is when you throw enough money into it, it's going to be great, but it's just a great movie. Okay, like it's not a great film. You know what I mean? There's a difference.
Like, that was my thing with the first Avengers, is I haven't seen it since it was in theaters, and I don't intend to, because that was part of the appeal for it to me, is that it was actually like you wanted the crowd response with it.
It was a cinema experience.
Yeah, and like going back and looking at it, you can actually see a bunch of
issues.
Like when it first came out, like that was the thing, is like you couldn't criticize it. Like people would jump on you if you tried to criticize it. But now, like going back and looking at it in like that non-cinema setting, it's like, yeah, there's some stuff there that's like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about this. I haven't seen Avengers since it was in theaters, and but unlike you, I do intend to see it again at some point. I just haven't done that. So obviously, it didn't stick with me quite as much as I thought it was going to when I first saw it. But yeah. So final question that I wanted to ask is, do you guys think that superhero movies are on their way out? I guess.
No.
Obviously, there's been a lot of them. Well, I mean, I'm not talking about in terms of what. In terms of like what the public wants, but in terms of quality, right? Because obviously, like with Transformers, we didn't really need a fourth one of those, and yet we got it, and it did well enough in the box office.
It's not a superhero movie.
It did well enough in the international box office. At home, it actually was. I don't know if it was the worst of the four, but it didn't outperform the third.
Can we not talk about that movie?
Okay.
Well, I was just using it as
I don't like that movie.
I was just using it as an example, right? Like, obviously, those movies haven't been caliber for a long time, if ever, and yet they still make money.
Exactly, that's...
And so, do you think this will be another, like, I guess I'm asking, do you think this will be another case of that? Do you think this will be, like, kind of a lackluster movie that makes a lot of money, or...
I mean...
I don't think that Avengers will, but there are other superhero series where I could definitely see that happening.
I mean...
go ahead, Sean.
No, it's... I was just gonna say, it's... I don't think so, just because it's being put on by such good talent, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All the actors in it, the director, I don't know who the director is, but whoever did Avengers, the first one, is a lot better than
Michael Bay.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna say, basically. Go ahead again, Jesse, sorry.
Like I was saying, I could see it being a problem with like specific series.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
I've heard both of those have been pretty lackluster, and we both know Sony is just going to keep chugging those things out because they make money.
Yep.
And it's going to get to the point where like Amazing Spider-Man 7, and it won't make money, and then Sony will be like, well, we're never making superhero movies again.
At which point the license will revert back to Marvel, and everyone will
and then there will probably be a resurgence in it because they'll reboot Spider-Man again.
For the third time in like 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, 10 years. But, yeah. Alright, well, I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on that. And,
Do we have time for one more thing that we left out in the Nintendo news segment?
Oh, sure.
Go for it.
Because we didn't talk about Bayonetta cross Playboy.
Oh yeah. Yes. So we got.
One second, real quick. I just wanted to say I'm looking forward to seeing Avengers. Like, I would love to see it with you guys. The new Avengers. Anyway,
oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So this morning we got an announcement that Nintendo and Playboy are putting together. I don't even know what you call this. A segment.
A cosplay photo shoot.
I guess so.
That's what it is.
Pretty much.
for Bayonetta 2. And I guess in some ways this brings up a bigger, like, what do you guys think about Nintendo marketing this game that has been, A, pretty controversial or whatever, but B, obviously intended for a mature audience when they haven't really done anything, haven't really supported anything like this quite as thoroughly.
Hey, by this point, Nintendo, do whatever the fuck you want. Good grief. It's
weird,
like...
Because according to the thread, it was only featured in the Polish version of Playboy.
Oh. I didn't read that.
Yeah, it's one of the top comments in the Reddit thread. It's in like it's like
so
the fourth or fifth comment
Nintendo of
down.
Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like NOA or NOJ, it's NOE.
Huh. Well, yeah, that's, but, yeah, so this is the thing that's in the world now. So,
Like, why not? You know, Nintendo, go for it. I honestly, it doesn't, like, there's nothing wrong with it to me.
Mhm.
If you want to, hey, it's a perfect way to advertise that game. And it makes sense just because of the nature of the game. Will it reach anybody? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the market? If someone's already interested in Bayonetta, they're going to pick it up. And if they're not interested in games, but they're picking up Playboys, they probably don't have a Wii U.
You're probably right.
And if they're just in it for, like, the girls part of Playboy, they're not going to pick up a video game console to play a game about a girl like Bayonetta,
Right.
where,
Yeah.
Right.
like, it doesn't make, I don't know.
Doesn't make much sense to you.
No.
Or to me. Or really
Or to anyone.
at all. But yeah, so that's the thing.
Apparently it makes sense to Poland, so...
Poland. Yeah.
I was just sort of, like, going through the comments here, and one of them says, as far as I know, Playboy did a photo spread for Marge Simpson, too. Well, that's it. I'm done.
That's it. We're
all,
done.
That's all we got.
That's all we got.
All right.
And with that, guys, we will talk to you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.